everybody. I am here at the Ashtanga Yoga Center. We finished practice a little bit ago and have been just kind of exploring some different asanas. And I reached out to the Instagram followers on the Ashtanga Yoga Center account and asked them what poses they struggled with. And there were a lot of poses, but Kurmasana and Supta Kurmasana came up a whole bunch, so I thought that that might be a good place to start today. So I have Janie here helping. Janie is super duper flexible, so your Kurmasana and Supta Kurmasana may not look like this, and that is normal. However, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Janie actually start in Kurmasana from the standing sequence, because I think that perhaps this is just the most beneficial posture to get you ready for Supta Kurmasana. So do you want to just go ahead and stand up and then step out to the right here? So just come, and you can pivot the way we normally, or you can do it that way, it doesn't really matter. That's good.
Oh, you mean like this?
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll do both sides. So go ahead and do Kurmasana. So I'm sure most of you guys recognize this posture from the standing sequence. One of the things I would encourage people to do here is press the pelvis forward so that you're really getting open through there. And then Janie, if you could just take your arm inside your foot. So this is not the way we would typically do Kurmasana, but here with the arm inside the leg, it actually really starts to resemble Kurmasana and Supta Kurmasana, because when we are doing those postures, sitting down later, our arms are tucking behind our legs. So you can kind of play with this variation a little bit in your standing sequence. It's a hard pose, so let's have Janie just quickly go to the other side. That's a hard pose even for her. Because you're trying to really be using your legs. So if your legs are fully engaged, you're going to feel yourself working here. So the pelvis is opening, it's pressing, sacrum's pushing this way.
You're Christopher Anderson is watching.
Oh, Chris, I miss you. Normally I would make Chris do these videos with me. Back leg engaged, inner thigh opening, pelvis coming forward. Okay, so we can let Janie get out of this. And then, do you want to just go ahead and sit down as though you don't go into Kurmasana yet? So, before Supta Kurmasana is Kurmasana. Now, Kurmasana would be the deepest forward bend that we've done in primary up to this point, and Supta Kurmasana would be equally deep, because now you're folding so far forward that you're folding with your, you're trying to get your legs behind you. So there's a whole big element to hamstrings going on here as well. They need to be pretty warmed up, and luckily you've done lots of forward bends to tap into the hamstrings. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can work this posture, and I would encourage you to just modify and take it easy. So Janie, can you not do the full posture, but maybe just kind of take your feet about hip distance apart, knees are bent to start, and you can start to kind of fold yourself down underneath. So like I mentioned before, Janie really is open and she's got plenty of flexibility for this. What I would encourage people to do who are less flexible is keep the knees bent. Another thing that I frequently would have students complain about is that it really hurts the elbows. So if that's you, if your elbows are hurting in this posture, something you could do would be to turn your palms up and just bend the elbow a little bit. Bend the elbow a little bit more. Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, like that. So you can see that that would protect the elbow. And if that's still too much on your arms, you could not even tuck yourself underneath. You could just kind of have your hands forward, or maybe even a little bit more forward. And then as you become more comfortable and more proficient in this posture, can you take your arms underneath the way you typically do it? I would encourage you to really press your hands down into the mat here, and then work on extending your legs. And when you are working on that extension of the legs, I like to think about really squeezing my inner thighs into my rib cage and pressing through the heels while you're continually pushing down with the hands to work on that extension. But this is what I mean by it's a really deep forward bend. So if you didn't quite understand what I was saying before, you can see she's almost in something like Paschimottanasana now, except it's a deeper pose. Her arms are underneath her legs. So it really is quite intense on the hamstrings. Okay, from here, Supta Kurmasana. So Janie can just kind of, let's restart again like you were a beginner. So Supta Kurmasana for a lot of people can be a little bit easier than Kurmasana because you get to keep your legs bent. I like to have students use a block for it because I think that lifting the feet up kind of makes a little bit more space for people to slide underneath because it is so demanding on the hips and the hamstrings. And it's a lot on the back because the back is really rounded here. So can you put your feet on the block, please? So Janie's making basically the shape of her legs. This is what they would look like in Kurmasana when you're in the full extent of the posture, except her feet aren't crossed. But don't cross them for now. And then what I would have her do is just try to tuck herself underneath here a little bit. And again, Janie is really quite flexible here, so you could imagine somebody being tighter. But what I do for a lot of students is have them stay here for a while and just let themselves just kind of stretch. It can be, you could maybe stay for like a couple of minutes if you had that much time in your practice. But Janie, actually, can you take your hands forward and grab the front edge of the block? Another thing that I would have some students do is just kind of pull themselves through. So I think I'm going to show you on me really quickly because Janie's so flexible here. I stink at this posture.
You did not.
Well, it's still something that I'm not very good at, even though I've been doing it for maybe 20 years. Okay. It still is uncomfortable. I feel a lot in my IT bands because they're a little bit, they're really tight for me in this direction. So for me to I have to sort of wiggle myself through. It's still a tight squeeze. So what I've noticed with a lot of students is bringing the legs up. You just have a little, I can't wiggle myself through here very well at all. So if I bring my feet a few inches off the mat, there's a little bit more space. And then I can grab the block and try to pull myself through, or try to kind of wiggle. When I lift up my butt, lean over to one side, and try to get that arm through. And I can just kind of wiggle myself like that. Another thing that I would encourage you to remember in this posture is to really keep your core engaged, because anytime your back is that rounded, you want to try to keep it really engaged to the front to keep your back safe. Anyhow, there really isn't a secret to Supta Kurmasana other than being super patient. It's something that might take a long time. Janie, how long have you been doing Ashtanga? Like a decade almost or so? More than a decade?
14 years.
So 14 years. It's something, it's hard. So be patient, hang in there. Does anyone